Paranormal achievements through self-discipline. Sadhana se Siddhi. Pandit Shriram Sharma Acharya. Translated by T. N. Sahai. Publisher. Yug Nirman Yojana Vistar Trust, Gayatri Tapobhumi, Mathura. Contents. 1. The essence of self-discipline is imbibition of morality in character. 2. The fundamentals of paranormal achievements by sadhana. 3. Daily sadhana of self-realization for evolution of inner self. 4. The two foundation stones of self-evolution. 5. Sadhana of the Supreme Deity, God within self. 6. Significance of environment in sadhana. 7. The primary ingredient for progress of the inner self, Shraddha. 8. Communion with a Sadguru, divinely competent guide, a celestial boon. 9. Communion with absolute wisdom. Its philosophy and efficacy. 10. Basic tenets of spiritual treatments. 11. Misconceptions related to upasana and eradication thereof. 12. An exquisite sadhana for the juncture of 2 centuries dhyan dharana, meditation. 13. How to earn merit in prevailing environment. 1. The essence of selfdiscipline is imbibition of morality in character. Sadhana, or self-discipline, means an endeavor to exercise a voluntary control over personal traits. The deities being invoked are in fact symbolical representations of one's own inherent divine attributes and ethical self. When these characteristics are in a dormant state, man suffers from unhappiness and deprivations. But as soon as they are recognized, accentuated and activated, the individual begins to sense his extraordinary potential of control over sensory and extrasensory elements, Riddhi Siddhi, of the world. A human being is basically omnipotent, a living Kalpvriksh. God has bestowed him with many capabilities, with everything required by him. The human existence is in fact a repository of innumerable potentialities. Their number is infinite, like the deposits of precious stones and minerals buried deep in the earth and lying in the abyssal depths of the ocean. However, not unlike the wealth of these deposits, the supra-normal talents of man are not within the reach of all and sundry. A persistent endeavor is required to unearth them. Those who are unable to gather sufficient enterprise do not gain anything. On the other hand, who make an effort, are rewarded in each and every field of life. This very endeavor is known as sadhana or self-discipline. Evidently, invocation of a deity has only one objective, that is, to activate one's inherent potentialities, make oneself adequately competent and imbibe a high level of morality in character. As a matter of fact, the inherent divine attributes of man himself have been metaphysically referred to as the influential deities who have been personified with a particular form, means of conveyance, weaponry, ornamentation, etc. according to their specific characteristics. The rituals of sadhana upasana, spiritual religious practices, are nothing but cues shrouded in mystery for activation of dormant human potentialities. They show us the way for energizing these latent talents. The authenticity of a spiritual pursuit, sadhana, lies in its objectives. In a true spiritual practice, an entreaty to God serves as a medium for preparing a comprehensive plan for self-evolution and for preparing a suitable environment. As mentioned earlier, human existence is a repository of innumerable potentialities. Being the supreme creation of God, it has inherited many divine attributes from the Creator. Nevertheless, He has made arrangements for necessary safeguards against misutilization of these latent powers. They become accessible to only those who acquire the wisdom of their rightful use. Since time immemorial, nature has been bestowing its gifts in a measure commensurate with the deservedness of the receiver. The famous men and women throughout the course of history have climbed successive peaks of success only after earning suitable qualifications. The golden rule of paranormal achievements through self-discipline is indisputable. Through the medium of deities we endeavor to infuse self-discipline in our own self. To acquire the gift of progressiveness, man has always found it necessary to control his irrelevant desires emanating from juvenile behavioral patterns and incoherent concepts by harnessing them in culture and civility. The name, fame and success of an individual has always grown in proportion to the degree of imbibition of this age-old dictum in personal life. A human entity is comparable to a garden bedecked with many inherent and visible physical characteristics. An endeavor to discipline, systematize and develop these talents is fully rewarded in contentment and achievements of the highest order. On the other hand, when mental attributes and physical capabilities are allowed to wander aimlessly on their own, they begin to expand in an ugly, haphazard wild growth of unkempt thorny bushes of a forest, rendering the entire field of operation difficult and inaccessible. Like the wish tree Kalpvriksh, a tree in heaven, a human being has been equipped by the Almighty to achieve success in innumerable fields, provided he makes an earnest attempt to harness his mode of living by taking recourse to correct means. The efforts made to achieve this objective are collectively known as sadhana. A number of deities are being invoked with the aspiration of fulfillment of one wish or the other by their grace. In fact, the truth behind this concept is only this: prayers are only means to develop one's inherent faith and conviction, which in turn control our behavioral patterns besides providing a meaningful direction to the thought processes. Moreover, a person engaged in spiritual practices meticulously follows the principles of morality in life. These endeavors collectively help the individual in discarding his evil traits of character and imbibing virtues in thoughts and actions. Cultural evolution of an individual is an obvious gift of God. With it, anyone can hope to achieve the desired objectives. Sadhana, that is, an endeavor for voluntary imbibition of discipline, is carried out both within the inner self as well as for the physical exterior. In either of fields, efforts are rewarded with success. Whichever course is chosen and perseveringly followed with meticulous diligence, takes the aspirant forward to successive stages of success. The farmer is well aware of the significance of sadhana. While tending to the crops, he remains thoroughly involved in his field, toiling and sweating day after day throughout the year. In the process, he is the least concerned about the inclemency of the weather, his personal comforts and health. He caresses each and every plant and, without depending on any external guidance, at his own pace, takes advanced decisions from application of fertilizer, irrigation, tilling, weeding, harrowing, to production of the crop before harvesting. His own volition and inspiration produce autonomic reactions in him to the needs of the crop, requirements of the ancillary equipments and animals tending to them, and related implements of farming. These are automatically and effortlessly translated into actions. In the entire process, the industrious farmer remains oblivious to exhaustion, boredom and haste to achieve results. He does not insist on immediate results for his labor. Since he is aware that the crop takes its own time to mature and he has to wait patiently till then, he remains free from the anxiety of filling his godowns with the produce. He also finds it unnecessary to anticipate any fixed quantity of grains out of his fields, since it is dependent on so many factors. In this manner he is continuously involved in his sadhana of farming. From time to time he does come across problems, but these are surmounted by him with his own expertise and resources. The crop is never neglected. He is unable to rest without making arrangements to fulfill the needs of the crop. Later, when crop matures and the grains ripen, he takes the produce home with gratitude to the Creator. Since he had not been expecting any fixed quantity of grains, he does not feel dissatisfied with the final outcome. Whatever is achieved is considered the will and gift of God. This is the sadhana of a farmer, which he continues to perform from his adolescence to death with unwavering faith. In this sadhana he neither takes risks nor feels tired. Nor does he feel bored or indifferent. In this way, a farmer presents an ideal example for aspirants to sadhana. The field of sadhana is one's own inner self. Buried herein is a treasure house of immense riches. Where is then need for seeking and begging in the world without, and in the process losing self-respect by exhibiting one's deprivations? The specific capabilities of the inner self themselves have in fact been identified by the distinguished wise men as the deities, Devi Devta, and they devised specific spiritual procedure for acquisition of the wealth buried in inner self through the medium of external rituals. For gaining physical strength, one makes use of various appliances of a gymnasium. These implements do not have any strength of their own but help the gymnast in building his muscles. These are thus only implemental in helping a person to bring out his own strength. The same is true about Atma Sadhana, self-disciplining. A student of Atma Sadhana can learn a lot by keenly observing the mental state and physical activities of a wrestler doing his regular practice each day with successively renewed enthusiasm. He does not feel satisfied merely with his exercise but also makes arrangements for nutritious food, observes continence to conserve his energy, rubs his body with oil to maintain flexibility of muscles and learns to maintain a poise. Neglecting these parameters that are related, he cannot hope for success exclusively from his exercises. Likewise, though rules and rituals for spiritual practices, upasana, are significant, they do not serve the purpose in totality. The aspirant has to remodel his mental processes and physical activities to suit the objectives. Take the field of music. Singers and instrumentalists do not become accomplished in a day. They have to make a persistent endeavor to tune in with the octaves. In absence of this practice, the musical notes of the vocalists become erratic and fingers of the instrumentalists lose coordination. Musical concerts are held on rare occasions, but to make oneself worthy of participation in these conferences, the musician has to keep constantly in practice, which is nothing but sadhana. An accomplished artist remains indifferent to the reactions of the audience, nor does he bother about the remunerations. He feels contented with the pleasure derived from his daily practice itself. A true artist would not find any difference even when he does not get reward or recognition for his art. He would nonchalantly continue to do his music sadhana even while dwelling in a mud hut in the forest without losing interest. Mental makeup of a person practicing self-discipline should have at least this much in common. Let us now consider other examples of dancers and cinema and stage artists, sculptors and workers of fine arts. All of them understand the importance of daily practice to keep in form. The soldier has to keep himself active by participation in routine parade and regular exercises, in absence of which neither he can depend on his marksmanship nor on war strategy. A pledge, sankalp, for a fixed number of japs in a fixed time, anushthan, may serve the purpose of fulfilling some particular objectives, but a true aspirant of self-discipline never remains contented with this limited ritual. He knows that for quenching his thirst, he has to draw water from well every day, and for cleanliness the room is to be swept each day. For spiritual health, similar routine is required. To mine the gems of his hidden talents, the aspirant must dig in the inner self each day. Otherwise, the possibility of gaining ever new achievements remains remote. The cleanliness of inner self is as important as cleaning of exterior of the body, for which taking bath, cleaning teeth and changing clothes has to be done daily. Likewise, the pollutants of the turbulent extrasensory environment of the world are also to be removed daily. Otherwise, they keep on accumulating and sooner or later give rise to unsurmountable problems. In order to keep the body functional, it is required to fulfill two basic necessities. 1. An intake of daily food, and 2. Regular defecation. Obviously, none of them can be neglected. In absence of food, blood will not be replenished and body would gradually decay and die. On the other hand, in absence of defecation, toxins produced in the body will keep on accumulating and will ultimately explode into many incurable diseases culminating into death. Very much like the material necessity of the physical body, the extrasensory component, Divya Chetna, of human existence has its own requirements. The latter too needs sustenance. It also loses its potency by collection of undesirable elements and, therefore, requires regular purification. The process of sadhana fulfills either of the above requirements. With the help of sadhana, the dormant good instincts are activated, accentuated and provided the right channel for useful application. With it, the hunger of the extrasensory existence is satisfied, as a consequence of which life becomes ever happy and prosperous. Sadhana is instrumental in extradition of those vices, evil traits and animal instincts which create hindrance at every step of success in life. The twofold process of self-purification and self-evolution involved in sadhana uproots the animal instincts and the instincts accumulated by the evil deeds of past and present life, kusanskar, and in their place sows the seeds of prosperity, progress and happiness. Thus, the aspirant is doubly rewarded by getting rid of the thorny traits of vices and at the same time obtaining sweet fruits of success. Amongst all the miraculous deities known the world over, God within is the most powerful. His invocation, worship, adoration is soon rewarded. It never becomes infructuous. A combination of clarity of objective and appropriate endeavor in association with disciplining in life, Jivan Sadhana, bestows rewards like Amrita, Ambrosia, Paras, Touchstone, Kalpvriksh and Kamdhenu. After disciplining, even animals of low order are seen to perform unusual feats. A wild cow in the jungle does not tolerate the proximity of a human being and destroys the crops. But once tamed, it becomes an asset to the farmer, providing milk, offsprings and many other benefits. In this way, not only the cow is benefited by comfort and protection, the same is also reciprocated to the keeper. It also holds true about the other wild animals. Horses, dogs, pigs and elephants of the jungle have to remain hungry frequently, undergo many hardships and face many uncertainties in life. After taming, they live comfortably and also bestow benefits to their masters. Human body and its inner sentient field is a storehouse of many powerful energy currents. Generally, like the animals of the forest, these are futile and because of lack of control, directionless. Consequently, like a rotten substance, they make the entire surroundings toxic. Just as a fire cannot exist without burning the material around it, and spilled bottle of acid results in destroying the objects in contact, uncontrolled animal instincts invariably create chaos and disorder. On the other hand, just as a controlled fire and acid are useful to man, controlled instincts create miracles for a man. The accruing benefits are so large and so many that an ordinary-looking person is seen to create an extraordinary environment. Sadhana is a name given to the voluntary endeavor of imbibing a cultural orderliness in thoughts and actions in life. Those who understand this principle and succeed in implementing it, reap the fruits like those who earn immense profits without any investment by taming and selling wild animals. The trained animals of a circus perform miraculous feats, impressing the onlookers. The tamed animals are praised, earn superiority of status over others of their breed and are well looked after. The tamers and trainers too are paid well. Above all, the owner of circus earns large profits from these animals, who otherwise, because of their wild habits, wandered restlessly in the forest creating troubles for others. Even the domestic animals cannot be fully utilized without proper disciplining and training. After attaining puberty, a calf, or a colt, cannot drive a plow or a cart on its own. It is not easy to ride any horse and make it trot. Other animals like camels and bullocks too do not have an inherent capacity to drive any vehicle. They earn the capability of proper execution of their responsibility through a prolonged and difficult process of training by cajoling and reprimand. This is known as sadhana, a quartet of internal sensory nerve centers of the human existence: viz. Man, mind; buddhi, intellect; chit, counterpart of mind in deeper levels of consciousness; and ahankar, counterpart of buddhi in deeper levels of consciousness, is comparable to a group of 4 wild animals. In the natural state, these 4 constituents of consciousness play truant. By virtue of evil deeds of lives in earlier births, these are covered with thick coatings of evil animal instincts. The device to remove these coatings may be termed as sadhana. Refining the animal instincts and then developing them into those becoming of a human being is an expertise comparable to that of an sculptor who transforms an irregular raw stone into an artistic statue. Development of this expertise is called self-disciplining, Atma Sadhana. Although this endeavor is as difficult as training of wild animals or sculpturing a raw piece of rock, it is pregnant with innumerable potentialities. The enchantment created by puppeteers, magicians and miraculous feats performed by trained animals are nothing else than consequences of persistent, perseverant and faithful endeavors of the performers totally involved in their effort. Such miracles are seen in every field of life, whether it is an ordinary entertainment show or some extraordinary achievement by the individuals who excelled in their field of expertise. Sadhana is the process through which one's own God-gifted inherent talents are accentuated and utilized for some meaningful objective. Sadhana invariably results in paranormal achievements. This is an established law of nature and is eternally true. One who is prepared to follow this course of self-disciplining, makes an effort for evolution in character, is assured of unending series of successes in his own life, which he otherwise desperately seeks hither and thither.